there and welcome to this month's Janome Stitch Club. My name is Julia Langley and I'm one of the educators here for Janome UK. And today's video for Stitch Club, which is where we try and show you the different features, etc. and techniques that you can use on your sewing machines, I thought I would look at something that I've been doing quite a lot of recently. We've been doing quite a lot of wedding sewing, myself and my daughter, and it has involved a lot of hems, and a lot of hems that have needed to be very, very neat and very, very small as well. So I thought that perhaps today we would look at a couple of methods. Now this is a dress that didn't get finished in time for the holiday, but next year, which seems a very long way away now, I thought we would have a look at getting these really, really neat rolled hems on your sewing machine. So I wanted to have a look at how to use the rolled hem foot, which is a little bit of a knack. Also how to do a baby hem without a rolled hem foot as well. And don't get me wrong, I'm not averse to a rolled hem on the overlocker to finish a dress, depending on the fabric and the style of the dress. Very often I will actually use that rolled hem in a contrast thread. I'm going to put a link below to a video I did on overlockers and how to do the rolled hem on your overlocker. So if that is your vibe, you go there. If you want something a little bit more special, then follow me. So here is foot D. This one came with my machine. This is the 6mm rolled hem foot. If I hold it here, I think you can see that little sort of curved shape, which is actually going to help take the fabric under and wrap it under. Now you can get them in 4mm and 6mm. The pictures are down below here. And there is also a 2.5mm option, but that's only on the 5mm. So do make sure that you're getting, as per usual, the right foot for your machine. So this is the 9mm one that goes on my atelier here. So I'm going to attach that foot and then show you how to prepare your fabric. So I'm going to pop that on. Okay, and I have got long tails here because what I've done is I've pulled up my bobbin thread and I want to make sure they're going in the gap and around the back and to the side. But I want those long tails to hold on to, because a lot of the time when you're doing this technique, the fabrics that you're using are actually going to be like this. For example, it's a very, very fine, look, cotton voile. They're very fine, so there is that tendency when you first start sewing for the feed dogs to go, oh yum, I'll have those. So what I've done here is I've done 2 little folds of the fabric to bring me to my sort of 6mm fold. Little hem here, this nice little hem, and I press that, but only for like the first sort of 2 inches. What I've also done here, and if you've never used this foot before and you want to practice, I would recommend this. The rest of this, I have pressed just the second line, so that's the full whammy, rather than doing the double turn every time. It's a lot quicker, but what it will do is just give you a helpful guide for how to sort of judge the rolling of that fabric as it goes through. So the first couple of times you try it out, this is quite a useful way of doing it. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to put that in. I haven't put anything in the actual rolling part of the foot yet. Line it up to the side of my foot and drop my presser foot. I'm going to hold on to these threads and then I'm going to drop my needle. Just make sure the needle is in the right place for where you're sewing, which mine is. I'm actually using on my atelier the settings in the machine, in the little t-shirt. Oh, again, picture in the side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a couple of stitches, 2, 3, there we go, and then I'm going to wiggle that up into that curve, so that as it starts now, it's going to start rolling itself as it stitches along. Now, the one other thing I would recommend, because we're about to lose where I've pressed it, I keep this finger in against, and that's why I'm saying about pressing that line, because I kind of keep that finger in, and I am lifting this so that it's going down into the actual, I don't know, you can't really call it a tube, can you? But right, so I'm using that finger, like I say, to guide my fabric in, and I am keeping it lifted up, because if I drop it down, that's when it will come out of the sort of the roller. So I'm just going to run that along. You can see how much this is fraying, look at that end, because of the sort of fabric it is. The easiest fabric, I must say, to work with, but this is the thing, that it very often it is these fabrics, you'll see, let me just get that, there we go, look, that's had a little press. So I've used a, hopefully you can see, because I've used a thread that actually shows. I'd normally do this in white, but you can see it's a super neat hem. And the thing to practice is that starting and then just keeping it in and keeping it lifted as well as it goes through. So that is using the rolled hem foot. Now you'll notice I'm actually working on a straight edge here, and it's absolutely brilliant for straight edges. Curves, however, can be slightly trickier, especially if you are on, as I said, a fabric like this. Look how much this is fraying. So if that was actually cut on the curve here, as you lift it, it would just be fraying ridiculously. So let's have a little look at how we can actually achieve the same effect on that same fabric, but on a curve. So any foot that's going to give you an edge guide is helpful. I've got my sliding guide foot on here, because what I want to do is I just want to stitch one line just through the one layer all the way around here, and I'm going to do it 1/4 of an inch from the edge. So anything with a lip, so you could use your 1/4 inch foot, or even your blind hem foot, something like that. And I'm going to, again, I've got the long tails, so I'm going to hold those as we start stitching. And because it's a single layer, you'll probably find that it's going to maybe gather a little bit. If it does, that doesn't matter, because that will almost help to sort of get it into its curved position. These sorts of hems are not quick. Even when you're using your rolled hem foot, you need to just take your time with these processes, because you do want that super fine finish, and they are normally on the kinds of garments where you want a really good finish. So I've just finished, and again I'm going to leave long tails. So like I say, if it's slightly gathered, it doesn't matter, because what we're going to use this for is as our guide. It's like muscle memory. It's kind of forcing the fabric so that we can now press that under. Okay. So as I say, this stitched line, and look, I think you can see even as I'm doing this, I'm being very, very gentle, but this fabric is fraying. I could put some fray check on, but I'm hoping with this next part of the process I won't need it. But as I say, I think you can see that if I was to try putting this in to my rolled hem foot as is, it wouldn't end well, would it? And it's like with anything in sewing, to be honest. Different techniques work with different fabrics. Don't think that, you know, one size fits all, because it really doesn't. It's always going to be what is appropriate, and that means what needle is appropriate, what foot, what stitch, what thread. You can see that if I start to now fold that over, look, that is sitting rather nicely in that curve already, isn't it? As I take it to the machine. If I wanted to do a teeny tiny hem, so for this tiny weeny hem, what I'll do is I'd actually trim away from that 1/4 inch folded over, so that when I do that fold, it's even smaller. And having just folded it over, because I've already done that stitching line, just want to move my needle across slightly. There we go. Drop that down. Hold this so I can pull it while I do those first couple of stitches. There we go. And then just pull that up into there. And then look, I can start that process again. And as I say, I can lift, but I can lift this folded bit into, and that stitching line is giving me a guide of where that should fall as it goes through. So I'm keeping my finger here, so that it's going through, because I don't need as much fabric, because obviously one of those sort of rolls has already been done. So as I come to the end of this fray fabric, I've also got those, look, those threads at the end from that first line of stitching, which can help me keep it going. So let's bring that up. So again, I'll give that a little press. I'm on this dress which has got quite a gentle curved hem, so I have done, to help it along with the rolled hem foot, I've done that excuse me, that first line of stitching. So off we go. I haven't pressed it this time, because this viscose is a little bit more easy to, although it's fraying, it's much easier to wrangle than the other. And I do sew a lot with viscose, so this is a really good way of doing a hem. So I can just show you, look at that, fabulous. How about that? In fact, look, from that to that,
That's why we love the rolled hem foot.
So there we go. Hopefully that's a few tips. It's definitely something to practice, I would say, and it's definitely something, as I said, to get the right technique with the right fabric, and some things will work for some fabrics and some things will work better. So it's just a case of knowing what it is that is going to work best on the project that you've got going on. So I hope that was helpful. Any questions or anything, please pop in the comments below. And I will also put the links to the overlocker rolled hem video and the links for the feet as well. Make sure you're getting the right size for your machine. And I'll see you next time.